Hi everyone. So today I'm really honoured actually. I'm really excited to be welcoming to the show Sarah Prout. Now, Sarah, I've just been saying to you, I've been following you since about 2018 when I discovered your podcast. And this was a time I started to stumble upon manifestation. I didn't really know what it was. I kind of knew something was happening in my own life. I was going through like an awakening at the time and a massive shift. And you just came into my life like I was just on the podcast. I was like looking for a podcast to listen to, and there you were. And it was like this lady is like everything she's saying is like so spot on with what I feel right now. And since then, I've just been following your journey. And I've got your book, your first book, Dear Universe, and I know
Oh,
you're
thank
here
you.
today to talk about your second book. But before I introduce, well, obviously you can introduce yourself actually. I was going to talk through, but I'm going to let you introduce yourself, Sarah, and tell us who you are and about your work.
Okay, well, thank you for having me. First and foremost, Hannah, it's so great to connect with you. I know we've connected online before, and so it's exciting to be here. And in terms of who I am, I have been teaching manifestation and spirituality for the last nearly 20 years, and I'm a writer. I love to write. I love to share the wisdom of energetics and frequency and the law of attraction through the written word. And so you showed the first book, Dear Universe, and with the second book, Dear Universe 365, coming out, it's a little bit bigger, and I think it's better. So what I've been doing for the last 20 years is helping people all around the world, just like yourself, to discover their own inner wisdom.
I love it. And your book, your first book, Dear Universe, I have to say, has helped me. It's helped a lot of my friends as well. You know, when they've
Good.
been going through things, I was like, yeah, you need to read this book. So, your book is just about to launch. Is it on pre-sale? Is it?
Yes, you can pre-order. Yeah, it comes out in December.
Okay, so you talk about it being better.
Yes.
I don't know if you can be better. Tell-
Oh, thank you. Well, the great thing about being a writer is that it travels with you as you grow and expand. And I think everyone is on a journey. Everybody changes all the time. And so with this work in particular, it's more of a mature approach to manifestation than your more baseline, thoughts become things kind of thing, which is great for a beginner. But I wanted something to really help the readers that were growing along with me, because I think you'd probably see in your own journey, Hannah, that it's evolved a lot more than those first days when you discover manifestation.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. And so this really dives into a more practical approach of taking it day by day, because it's 365 mini meditations, and each day has a power word to aim for. So you can ground yourself in the energy and the essence of that word, and it helps you to connect with the universe and move about your day with more power and awareness.
Oh, amazing. I'm really excited to read this. So, for those who might not be familiar with manifestation, you know, a lot of people are now, it's talked about a lot more, but if
Mhm.
people aren't familiar with it, can you just explain, just in a nutshell, what it actually is, and then just take us onto your journey of how you actually discovered it yourself?
Sure. It's a great question. And I love this question because I think for those of you that are not familiar with the law of attraction or manifestation, it's essentially that everything is energy and you attract what you are thinking and feeling and taking action on. So everything that manifests in your reality is a match for your vibration. And so that might seem like a big and scary concept if you're new to this, like, oh my gosh, I made all of this stuff happen in my life. But if you look back, you can trace back the thought patterns, the emotions, and then you realize that you are on a soul journey.
Mm.
And so for my journey, it began when I was 8 years old, and I pulled a book off the shelf, and it was called The Game of Life and How to Play It by Florence Scovel Shinn, which was written in 1928. It was a book that belonged to my mom, and she's like, oh, I don't know whether I want to read this. And so she gave it to me, and I read it cover to cover. And it was almost like having a magical book of spells. It was like, oh, okay, so this is how it works. I can think, and then the reality around me will change. And I know that might sound a little bit simplistic, but I think for me in my own journey, what I found is that the law of attraction and manifestation has helped me to move through the ebbs and the flows of life. And
Mm.
that's really what I signed up for as a writer and as a spiritual teacher.
Mm. Yeah, I can feel that. And as someone who has also sort of been on this whole manifestation journey and sort of discovered what it was, sort of probably for myself, it was probably more back in 2016, 2017. And it's it is a journey, isn't it? Like you've just
Hmm.
described it as it's a soul journey. I personally believe we're all here on, our soul's purpose. We all have our individual purpose here. You talk a lot actually in your teachings about surrender. And I know I've just listened to your latest podcast episode
Okay.
actually, and I think
Hmm.
you're talking that about challenging times and
Hmm.
surrendering. So
Hmm.
we talk about manifestation and how what we think we can create and so on, and we have this sort of power over certain things. But what would you say to people going through really challenging times when it feels like the universe, God, whatever, that higher power is not on your side?
Oh yeah, yeah. That's the deep training, and I'm going through it now, as you would have heard in the podcast
Yeah.
episode yesterday. That going through a second divorce and all of the dynamics that go along with that, it's like the universe is training me.
Hmm.
And I think it's like another strength, the strengthening exercise. It's almost like being in the gym of life and you have to work out that muscle because I think sometimes you can become complacent in your life when you think, well, I've manifested all of this wonderful stuff, but it's still not that deep fulfillment. And the universe will peel back those layers until you get to your most authentic self. And
Hmm.
sometimes it happens in the most abrupt, heartbreaking ways. I know myself having traveled through betrayal and dishonoring myself too in many ways in terms of when my body was screaming, "This isn't right now. I need to do things differently." And I've done that since I was a little kid, though. I really have, and I think many women do that just to keep the peace, just to keep the illusion of what looks like or appears to be working when it's not. And I
Yeah.
think many of us make assumptions that things are going really well when they're not.
Yeah, that's a lot of truth, and actually that kind of would bring me on to talk a little bit about your body and your intuition, especially for women because we have very heightened intuition, I feel. And this
Yeah.
is something I work with women. I work in somatics. I actually teach women through movement and hula hooping,
Mm.
actually, of all things, to
Oh, okay.
do.
Yeah. Yeah.
And it's something we say, isn't it? Trust your gut, trust the instinct, trust your intuition.
Mm.
That is easier said than done. And it
Yeah.
isn't often till I think we look back on things and we think, well, my gut was telling me, I knew, I knew.
Yeah. It
And
does. The body keeps the score. I believe that's a book. Yeah, and it's a
yeah,
powerful book.
yes. And it's almost like something it will start screaming at you until you sort of hear it. But this is actually an interesting question because obviously you've been through such a journey yourself. Is there times you could look back on yourself and think, yeah, my body was telling me like really strongly in that moment? Can you, if you're open to giving some examples
Yeah,
of some life experience you've been through where your body's told you, that might
of
just help
course.
us.
Yeah. Oh my goodness. It's funny. I wrote an article about this that comes out next week. So it's perfect. So it's the top of my mind. I was thinking I went through 2 years of migraines. And
Mm,
that was debilitating. I spent 3 days a month in bed where I couldn't open my eyes. It was so terrible. That was my body telling me I was stressed. I had jaw pain. I developed two skin cancers.
mm.
All of the different gut issues that can happen, sleeplessness, and especially women my age. I'm 46. I think, oh, it's perimenopause. It's
Yeah,
the stage of life where you're supposed to go through that. But then I started asking different questions of, well, what if it's not? What if that's actually the higher wisdom of my body telling me that I'm not in the right space that I need to be in right now and that I need to start doing things for myself? And my life, I've been a parent now, as you know, for 25 years. So it's like there has not been a time in my life where I've actually been able to prioritize myself.
yeah,
So this time in my life, even though I still have two small children, it's like I need to show them what it's like. So I break that cycle because my grandmother didn't do it and my mother didn't do it. So who's going to do it next?
hmm. Yeah, as a mother myself and going through like I've just hit 40 and a lot of my friends are sort of around 40, oh, we're going through perimenopause, it's this,
Hmm.
it's that, sort of blaming it on the hormones. And I think there's something to say for hormones, certainly,
Yeah.
but it is listening to and attuning to more, I think, isn't it? Like you've just explained.
It
And
is. It
mhm.
is. My life changed, the symptoms went away. I was on hormones for a little bit to do like replacement therapy and from a bioidentical. I stopped taking those and I haven't had migraines for a few years now. I haven't developed any new skin cancers. My gut issues have resolved themselves. And it was just really the willingness to be brave enough to face myself emotionally.
Yeah. Yeah. I guess for women listening, and they might be thinking, oh, I'm that's happening to me right now. Like, so I don't know if it's like this man I'm living with that I can't
Well,
stand.
that's it. Yeah.
Which one is it? And I think this that's the question, right? So it's like, how do you think? I mean, I suppose, you can't rule out the medical side of things, you can't rule out the hormones and things like that, but it is looking, isn't it, deeper into alignment.
It really is, yeah. And you can't blame, your husband or whoever it is that, oh, I'm going through this. It's really about taking self-responsibility because you can do this in a relationship or outside of a relationship on your own. It just is about looking within and knowing that you're asking all of the right questions.
Yeah, and I don't know about you, but I feel like we're in interesting times at the moment, and this is a
Mm.
discussion I've had with a lot of clients lately and friends, is that I feel like women now, sort of our kind of age, we're almost acting as this bridge between the old paradigm and the new paradigm. So
Mm-hmm.
it feels like we seem to be getting a lot of like, everything in our lives has sort of been shaken up in terms of like what we're willing to tolerate now, in terms
Mm-hmm.
of like relationships, friendships, family dynamics, like many, many things. And I'm not sure if that's maybe something you might resonate with, but I just feel like we're going through this stage of consciousness where it's the old paradigms being left behind.
Mm.
The new one hasn't quite birthed yet, but we're this bridge having to be the ones having to move through the discomfort. So our children now and like their children, the next generations, that cycle you talk about, that generational
Mm.
cycle can be truly broken. Just
Yeah.
yeah, feel I don't know how you feel about that, but like obviously going through, I mean, I don't want to talk you're welcome to talk about what you want to share. But there's so many people I have spoken to going through very, very similar things right now, myself included. It's just like you tend to feel alone and you sort of share your story and then you're like, wow, it's not just me. There's so many other people going through this. There must be more to this right now. Something's going on. There's some shift going on right now.
It's collective rebalancing. I think that's what it is to remind people, especially women, to step into their power. Because I think for many women, we don't know what our deal breakers are until we meet them face to face. And
Yeah.
then it gives you that choice point of, oh, okay, do I tolerate this and get over it and then kind of manifest it in my body? Or would I allow my daughters to be treated this way? Would
Yes.
I allow my son to be treated this way? And then if the answer is no, then you really need to look at how much you're caring for yourself because you're no good to anybody if you can't really take care of yourself.
Yeah.
And I think that so many women, especially, are going through this almost like rebalancing of power dynamics in relationships or in workplaces as well, in career dynamics, in how the money is earned, and that sense of empowerment of we can do this, you
Yeah.
know? Yeah.
Yeah. I like that, how you explained it as a collective rebalancing. I really
Hmm.
like that. That's powerful.
Seen a lot of women going through this, so I can just say what I see.
Yeah. So what would you sort of say? Like, so the key, I suppose, in manifestation
Hmm.
is to come into it in alignment. And it's like you
Yes.
talk a lot about flow. And when
Yes.
you're in flow, you attract everything to you. When you're in receiving mode, you attract everything to you. And you talk about being aware of the body and things that aren't quite right and how we can
Hmm.
to our gut and intuition. And is that how you would say, like, we can sort of become closer to alignment with ourselves in order to attract everything and so that things start to flow? Like, is there, I mean, I suppose there's no right way to do it, but what would you say? How would you say to someone right now if they're saying, well, how can I get into alignment? What would you say to them?
if it feels good, do it. And it's so simplistic, it really is, but it's about cultivating your discernment and your intuition to go in the direction of what makes you feel like it's contributing to you rather than contaminating your field or your energy.
Yeah.
And it's just a matter, I mean, as human beings, we know that if we eat something in the fridge that's moldy, we're going to get sick. But yet we can't see those kind of things when they appear in our lives of like, don't date that guy, don't take that
Yeah.
job, don't spend
Yeah.
that money, right? And so we need to get really good at identifying what's going to nurture us and then creating a non-negotiable. And so that's how you align with the things in your reality. And one by one, even if it's the smallest decision of choosing a salad over pizza today, and I'm not specifically food, or choosing something organic over something that's like sprayed with pesticides. It's it's going to make a difference.
Mm.
Like brick by brick, you're building something and realizing from this point that you hear this information, you are building something that is brand new and it's yours.
Yeah. Like that. Yeah. I'm going to say that. I'm gonna go that one. I think I need to.
I need to buy a hula hoop now. I, lo- I still love hula hooping. Well, it is so good for you, isn't it? Because
Yeah.
all of the energy that's stored in that area of our bodies. I
Mhm.
mean, I'm preaching to the choir here, obviously.
Yeah, I mean, I didn't even know this when I first started. I was doing it purely as a way to tone up, but I soon discovered that as women, we store a lot of trauma in
Yes.
our sacral area, in the hips, and obviously
Mhm.
I realized, oh, this is moving. So let's just talk a little bit more about your book because obviously
Okay.
that's being launched in December.
Everything. Yes.
It is. And you've described like the content of it and everything, but I'd love you to just give me like a little nugget if you can share a little
Oh, a little nugget. I do have
bit
a
from the
bookmark here,
book.
but I'll just show what it looks like inside. So each day, I don't know whether you can see that. Each day has an entry, and so I need my glasses for this. So this one, so each day has a power word to aim for. So this one is clarity, and it says clarity is a gift that illuminates your path and dispels confusion. It allows you to see your goals, values, and dreams in an illuminated new light. When you manifest clarity, decision making becomes effortless, and your actions are aligned with your highest purpose. Take time to clear the mental clutter through reflection, journaling, or speaking with trusted friends. As you gain clarity, you step into your power, making choices that resonate with your true desires and aspirations. For me, clarity often is a deep knowing of the path forward, that all options have been weighed up and it's time to take a leap of faith. Try it for yourself and see what manifests from a beautiful space of clarity. And then there's a Dear Universe invocation at the bottom, the connection point. It says, Dear Universe, I embrace clarity, seeing my path and purpose with precision and confidence. My mind and heart are clear and aligned. So be it, so it is. So you can imagine that recording that as an audiobook, like my producer fell asleep. So it's like it was fantastic to like we spent 2 days in a recording booth putting that together, 400 pages, and I was just buzzing at the end of it because
Wow.
all of this stuff. But it was like writing to my future self because when I wrote it, I was living under the same roof as my ex, so it was very painful. And I wrote the book that I knew would help to serve others going through times of uncertainty where they need different energetic boosts in their lives.
Yeah. And it feels to me like you've almost like the pain maybe that you've felt in life, you've managed to alchemize it into something quite powerful actually that is going to help people. And it's I feel like sometimes like people like ourselves that are here to sort
Mm.
of to help others have to go through these things in order to be able to help other people. Like it's almost like we've had to go first. We've had to learn how to alchemize the pain in order to show others that it's possible and that they can also alchemize that pain too. And yeah, I mean, I respect you so much. As I say,
Thank
I've
you
been
for having
following
me.
your work for like quite a few years now and following your whole journey, your whole story, and to see you sitting here still strong and like courageous and still
Thank
putting
you.
this work out and still on a mission to help others despite holding everything you hold is immense, right? It's
Thank
immense.
you.
And it's you know, like you deserve so much respect for this. And you know, I'm sure right now, like obviously the things you're going through, like many others themselves are going through, like it's painful, it's pain,
Yeah.
but it is part of life and it's part of our soul's journey, as you have mentioned. And, you know, I'm sure you've been through things in your life before where you've come through the other side and it maybe you can just before we wrap up describe and maybe explain to people now that are going through something that like when you look back and you can almost see like when you're right in the midst of it you can't really see
Mhm.
the reasons, you can't really understand because you're still in the midst of it, but when you look on certain things that have happened in your life, can you see why, can you start to see like the
I
sort of
can.
jigsaw puzzle like
I can. I can see those moments where it's like, why me? Why is this
yeah
happening to me? And to be fair, I still go through those days sometimes where it's like you have to allow yourself as a human to truly feel all of those awful feelings, those icky feelings, and move through them. But I think it's important to remember that it could always be worse. I
yeah
know that that sounds very simplistic, but it can be. And when I look back at some of the things that have happened in my own life, I'm still here. You
yeah
know, it's a blessing, and I think bringing gratitude as well. It's so easy to be grateful when things are amazing. What's very, very good for your manifesting practice is to be grateful even in the face of adversity. What's this teaching me? Because I can tell you going through this incredibly difficult time has only strengthened me in times where people have wanted to, not for me not to be strong.
Mm.
So I think that's the key here. We rise above it, we embrace our own energy and power, and we keep moving forward and trust that the best is yet to come.
And actually talking about gratitude, because again, something you talk about a lot. Could you give listeners one of your favorite gratitude practices if they're perhaps like unsure of how to practice gratitude and how to make it a habit in their daily life? Is there a ritual or practice that you do that helps you tune into gratitude?
Yeah, it's gratitude for the tiny things, like the meal that you're going to eat, or making a nice cup of tea, or going out and looking at the sky and feeling that sense of gratitude, feeling your feet on the ground, just bringing awareness to the most basic things. And then, and here's like a more advanced manifestation tip, thanking the universe for the things that haven't yet manifested, but that you're really excited and you know they will one day. So thank you for the soulmate. Thank you for the dream home. Thank you for the business opportunity. And when you do that, you truly start to open up your field so that those lower energies can't align with you anymore. And you move through that initiation phase and rise above it. And
Yeah.
then you see purpose in the times where you weren't feeling the best. You see purpose in the pain.
Yeah. Yeah, and visualization, actually, you're talking
Mm-hmm.
about seeing it and seeing where you sort of want to be. And I know in the past I know I've listened to some of your episodes where you've talked about vision boards and visualization,
Yes.
how actually your journey, how you visualize certain things and you've manifested those through
Mm.
intense visualization. So, visualization, actually, I know myself, I've practiced it a lot and I have like pretty much like to the like actual detail
Yeah.
like manifested the exact thing. It's like
Mm.
bizarre. But yeah, like you've just spoken a little bit about the gratitude. Like, is there a really strong visualization? You've got actually some, haven't you, on
I
your
do. On my website, there's a lot
yeah,
of visualizations.
yeah,
I've done a lot of that work, but it's mostly to invoke in the listener the feeling, because I think that's where people get disconnected. It's very easy to imagine yourself in a beautiful lake house, but what about getting into like the visceral feeling of waking up in the morning and making a cup of coffee and sitting out on the deck and overlooking the water and like all of those feelings of feeling loved, feeling cherished, feeling safe. And the more we can cultivate those feelings within ourselves, the more it's going to manifest in the outer world. Yeah.
yeah, yeah. And then it's like sort of frequency, you feel it, this sort of
Hmm.
where um I sort of try to, if I can feel my frequency dip in, I think it's allowing yourself to have that because you're
Yep.
human, but then
Yeah.
trying to get yourself above this energetic line as quickly as possible, just even if 1%, like just over that energetic line, like so that you're, so even at 51%, you're outdoing it by 1% of that low vibration.
Yeah.
Feel it.
Yeah. And you need to connect with other people when you're going through those lower vibrations too, just to get it out. And they need to be a safe space that is not trying to fix you or
Yeah.
to problem solve the situation because that's irritating. You just want to allow the space to be, to feel held and then move on.
Yeah. Yeah. And it sounds like your book is going to help so many people, and I'm really excited to
Yay.
help as well. So yeah, you've said it's launching in December, and
December 30th.
it's on pre-sale now. Yeah.
Yes, on pre-sale now.
Great.
Yes.
So can you just explain where people can find you? Obviously, we will have all of that in the show notes as well, but where people can buy the book, and also about any other how people can work with you as well if they want to
Okay.
work more in more capacity with you.
Sure. So with the book, you can go to dearuniverse365.com and there should be all of the retailers listed. I think there's UK retail listers listed as well. And to work with me and for more information, my website is sarahprout.com.
Amazing. And we'll have that in the show notes as well. And obviously you're on Instagram.
Yes, I am at Sarah Prout.
And
Yep.
Substack as well. You're on Substack.
I love Substack. Substack's amazing. Yeah.
Yes. And I'm starting to become a bit more aware of Substack now,
Oh,
actually.
good, good. Yeah, it's good.
Oh, no, thank you, Sarah. This has been amazing. And I can't wait to for everyone to hear this and everyone to read your book and also your first book as well, not to forget the first one.
That's right. Thank you.
Yeah,
Thank
thank
you
you
so much,
so
Hannah.
much, Sarah. This has been amazing.
Thank you.